Good afternoon, friends. Today I will talk about a very important concept, and that is metacognition. The word and the concept metacognition has been coined by John Clavel in 1977, and since then, a lot of work has been done on this concept, and nowadays it is widely used in teaching and learning process. It is said that in learning process, the contribution of intelligence is around 7 to 8%, while the contribution of metacognition is said to be around 18 to 20%. So we can understand that metacognition is very important aspect of learning, and especially the self-learning. Since we are moving from teaching to learning to self-learning, because very important aspect of education nowadays is we have to make children a self-learner. So in developing a children as a self-learner, metacognition can play a very important role. So first we will try to understand what is metacognition, what are its main components and subcomponents, and what are the development process involved in metacognition, as well as how to measure the metacognition. So now, first of all, we will try to understand what is metacognition. The definition given by Flavel is it is knowledge about and regulation of one's cognitive activities in learning process. So when the individual has a knowledge of one's cognitive activities. Now what is cognitive activities? So whatever we do mentally, that is all the mental processes involved in learning something are called cognitive activities. Suppose I am trying to memorize some words or some content. It is a cognitive activity. When I am trying to understand something, then it is a cognitive activity. When I am trying to explain something, it is a cognitive activity. So we can say that a mental process is involved in learning something is called cognitive activities. We do a lot of cognitive activities every time. Whether we try to memorize something, whether we try to recall something, whether we are paying attention to something, whether we try to describe, classify, whether we want to explain something. So in all these activities, a cognition is involved, mental processes are involved. So when we are learning something, when we are learning any content, any matter, And in that learning process, the cognitive activities are obviously involved. And if I have the knowledge of these cognitive activities, that I am doing such kind of cognitive activities, I'm doing, I'm trying to understand the content, I'm trying to classify the content, I'm analyzing something, I am trying to create something, or I am trying to apply my knowledge in new situation. So in all these cognitive activities, if I have a knowledge of all these cognitive activities involved in my learning process, then Pavel says it is a metacognition. That is cognition of cognition. That means how our cognition actually work, how we involve in cognitive process. So whenever I am involved in cognitive process, my metacognition helped me to understand that I am involved in this kind of cognitive process. I am trying to memorize something, I am trying to classify something, I am trying to discriminate something. So if my metacognition is saying to me that I am involved in this cognitive processes, cognitive activities, it is my metacognition. So knowledge of one's cognitive activities is one of the aspects of metacognition. The other is regulation of one's cognitive activity. So now only knowledge of cognitive activities is not enough, because you are knowing something, but if you are not using it, it has no meaning. And that is why at the same time I am using the cognitive activities, I am doing the cognitive activities, I am also looking into how am I actually using the cognitive activities, doing the cognitive activities. For example, I am reading some book and I am realizing that I am not able to understand the content of the book. So I am aware of the fact that I am not able to use my cognitive processes in such a way that I can achieve my goal. So I am becoming aware about my cognitive process. So when I become aware about my cognitive process, what I will tell to me, okay, you are not able to understand the content, now revisit or reread the content and try to understand what it tried to say. So what I am doing here, I am trying to regulate my cognitive process. I am trying to monitor my cognitive process and regulate in such a way that I can achieve my goal of learning. So when I am regulating my cognitive processes, cognitive activities, whenever I am learning something, then also it is called as a metacognition. So overall, it is a knowledge and regulation of one's cognitive activities in learning process. The second definition that is given by Brown, Ransford and Herrera, what they say is It is one's knowledge, awareness, and control of the domain of cognition. That is, if I am having a knowledge of my domain of cognition, I am aware that my domain of cognition, that is, my cognitive abilities are such that I can do certain kind of tasks. I can do a mathematical task, I can do a geographical related task, I can understand the languages. So if I am having awareness about my domain of cognition, and at the same time I am able to control my domain of cognition, then we can say that I have a metacognition or metacognitive abilities. So knowledge of domain of cognition. Here we are talking about a domain of cognition, not about the psychomotor domain or the affective domain. We are strictly following or we are strictly adhered to the domain of cognition. When I am totally aware and having a knowledge of my cognition, that is, how do I learn, when do I learn, in which situation I learn, in which situation I cannot learn, which are the favorable conditions in which learning can be maximum. For example, if you have seen the students who very often say that I am more enjoying learning in the morning after waking up. Some students say that I am more interested in learning at night because everything is peaceful. Every place has been quiet, and so that I can peacefully learn. So, if I am also aware about in which condition I am able to learn, then also it is a awareness about our cognition process. And not only awareness, if I am able to control that domain of cognition. For example, if I am not comfortable in learning when there is a noise, and I can just control that noise, so also it is a metacognition aspect, because I am trying to control all the situation which can hinder my learning process. Not only hinder, but which can enhance my learning process. So I am trying to create such kind of situation so that maximum learning can be possible for me. So one's knowledge, awareness, and control of the domain of knowledge, cognition, is called a metacognition. It entails conscious reflection on what one knows about a given task. For example, I am given a task of problem solving. So if I am reflecting consciously about what I know about problem solving, how to solve the problem, how to collect the data related to the problem, how to analyze that data and arrive at the solution of the problem. So if I am doing the conscious reflection of what one knows about a given task, then I can say that I have a metacognition. Here, not only a reflection but conscious reflection is required. That means I am consciously reflecting on whatever the task I have been assigned, what it is, what are the nature of the task, which are the things that I require to complete the task, what are the process of completing that task, how to monitor that a task, and how to evaluate that task, whether it is being completed successfully or not. So if all this process I am doing consciously, reflecting on all the processes, then I can say that I am having a metacognition. It is a demonstrating ability to describe what he or she is currently doing. That means if I am able to describe my cognitive processes, what I am exactly doing right now, then it is called a metacognition. If you ask a brilliant student what he is currently doing, you may find that he will exactly describe what he is actually doing, what is the task, how he is completing the task, which strategy he is using to complete the task, how he is monitoring the task, what are his planning, how he is going to evaluate this task. So he will explain and describe the entire process of what he is doing actually currently. But if you ask the a student having a lesser ability, then if you ask him what you are doing, then he will not be able to explain or describe what exactly he is doing or what exactly he wants to do. He is not sure about the task. He is not sure about how to plan it, how to regulate it, how to evaluate it, what strategy will be required to complete the task. This is the difference between the brilliant students and the dull students. A brilliant student has a metacognitive abilities which can help to understand his cognitive processes, control his cognitive processes, and regulate in such a way that he can able to achieve his cognitive goals. But our dull students, if you just look at them and just talk to them, you will realize that they are not aware about what they want. They are not aware about what are their cognitive goals, what they want to achieve, how they can achieve it. So if I am having a demonstrating ability to describe what I am exactly doing currently, then I can say that I am having a metacognition. So here if you look into it, the brilliant student and the dull student, the difference is of metacognition. A brilliant student having a good metacognitive abilities can excel his learning process, while the dull student cannot. But if he help a dull student to enhance his cognitive abilities, to develop his cognitive, metacognitive abilities, then we can also help him to excel in his learning process. Whenever we talk about our feelings, about the learning situation in which we are engaged, then also it is called a metacognition. That means if I am able to describe what I am feeling right now about the learning situation, that okay, I am understanding it, I am not understanding it, I am not actually very much interested into it, or I am very much interested into it, I am very much motivated to learn this, or not motivated to learn this. So, if I am talking about my feeling about the learning situation in which I am engaged, then also it is a metacognition. And use this information. So, if I am using all this information to monitor and enhance one's performance, so I am doing a conscious reflection, having a demonstrating ability of what I am currently doing, and talk about my feeling about the learning situation, and use all this information to monitor and enhance one's performance. Then it can be said that I am having a metacognition. The another definition, what it says, metacognition involves active monitoring and consequent regulation and orchestration of cognitive process to achieve cognitive goals. Here three things are there. One is active monitoring. Now again I am giving the same example of brilliant student and dull student. If you are look into the brilliant students, they are very much active in monitoring their learning process. Whether they are learning or not, whether they are not understanding the things or not. So they are very much actively monitoring their learning process, their cognitive process. And through their active monitoring and consequent regulation, that means if they are finding that something they are not able to understand, something they are not able to do it, some strategies are not working, then they try different kind of strategies, different planning. So if they are regulating their learning process, then they can achieve their cognitive goals. But if you find the dull students, they are not active monitor of their learning process. If you ask them what they are doing, they will not be able to describe what they are doing. Why they are doing, they don't know. How they are doing, how about that also, they don't know. So they are not active monitors, and since they are not actively monitoring the learning processes, cognitive processes, they will not be able to regulate it. So I can say that if the individual is actively monitoring and regulating his learning process, cognitive processes, not only monitoring and regulating, but orchestration of cognitive processes. Now, this word is very important. Orchestration. You must have seen the orchestra. Now, how they work actually? They work synchronously. If there is no synchronization between each player, each artist of the orchestra, then there will be no music. There will be only noise. The music is created because there is an orchestration between the each and every artist that is involved in that music playing process. So, same way, if the individual is actually using all his cognitive processes in such a way that it can play a music, it can perform a dance, like then he can achieve his cognitive goals. So orchestration is very important in terms of how to utilize different cognitive processes, how to plan all the cognitive processes, how to monitor and regulate all the cognitive processes, and whether I have achieved the cognitive goals or not. That is, evaluating the cognitive processes are very important. If that orchestration is not there, then metacognition cannot be developed. So we can say that metacognition is active monitoring and consequent regulation and orchestration of cognitive process to achieve cognitive goals. It focuses on people's self-monitoring and self-control of their own cognition. So, if I am doing my self-monitoring of how my cognitive processes are actually happening, and I am able to control that, then I can say that I am having a metacognition. So if you look into all the definition, it is a knowledge, awareness and control of one's own learning. That means a cognition of cognition. That is beyond cognition. If I am having a total knowledge, awareness and control of my own learning, then I can say that I am having a metacognition. So all in all, we can say that it consists of two components, a knowledge and control. That is how my cognitive process operates and how can I control my cognitive operations are the two very important aspects.